50 for Tuesday. Morning clouds with drier, high 60 to 62, turning colder for the midweek. Let Dodge City Ski Shop keep you and your family toasty warm through this winter with the largest selection of cold weather clothing around, from long underwear, wool socks, and Columbia jackets. Dodge City, East Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. And I'm Storm Team 12, Chief Meteorologist Matt Report.
The radio 92.7.
Have a car wreck in Tennessee? Why hire an Alabama billboard lawyer for your car wreck? You'll never, ever meet that guy. Warren and Griffin work here, live here. You get to know them. You have a car wreck? Call Warren and Griffin. 265-4878, 265-4878. And let me tell you, they've got a killer thing going on right now, the Hands-Free Tennessee petition to save lives and make our roads safer. Put down your cell phones and just drive.
I'm the dude, that or his dudeness, duder, or El Duderino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
The radio 92.7.
Good morning, beautiful people here in the city of Chattanooga. It's your girl Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. Y'all know what it is. We're taking it from the streets. City Hall to the mayor's office. Can't leave out the police department. Oh man, from the Valley Low to the mountaintop, giving you guys a bird's eye view to what's going on here in the city of Chattanooga. Good morning, folks. Wake up. I'm sure y'all are awake, but you better be getting to it. Why? It's Monday. Man, we've already made it through the first week of the new year already. Sheesh. I got you. Thank you, bro. Man. Thank you, Jason. Always taking good care of me here on the radio show. What's going on, everybody? Today's show is going to be a part 1 and a part 2 because there's a lot to talk about. This weekend was hot in the streets. We're talking. And unless you're up on social media like I am, and shout out to all the people who do a wonderful job of keeping me informed about what's happening in the city of Chattanooga. And just having a pulse on the streets is important to me. Because it's a lot of people talking about what's going on in the city of Chattanooga, but it's a different situation to have a relationship with people in the community and to have the trust of people in the community. Good morning, C. Grimy. Good morning, Brittany. I see you guys tuning in. I expect these views to go up because today is going to be a good show. And tomorrow's going to be a good show because we had a leaked it was one part that was leaked. It's actually 4 parts to the video of Tommy Hubbard of the Bounty Hunter Bloods of a free will confession, right? It was a conversation that he had with a member of the ATF, Michael Wenger, and several other police officers with the gang unit in the Chattanooga Police Department. And I got to go back, right? Before we can really get into the meat, we may not get into too much of the video today. We'll do a little bit of it, but we're really going to get into the video tomorrow. I'm going to have to break this down in parts because people need to understand what happened, how it happened, how do we get here? How do we end up getting into a VRI initiative? How did we have millions of dollars that were intentionally wasted? How did we have a confession that happened in 2014, but we still had a string of bodies of people who were dying? 2015, 2016, we had Bianca Horton, who was brutally murdered by people that the Chattanooga Police Department knew were doing gun violence back in 2014 or before then. So what does that give me as a citizen if I see that the Chattanooga Police Department had knowledge of, in particular, people who were driving violence in the community, and it took them years to get them off the street? And in the video, these guys, they know him by name. They know him by set. They know him by name. And so how is it that you have a confession in 2014, but then you have children that are getting shot in 2015 and 16, and then women who are getting murdered in 2016? And the questions that a person like me would have is that there is no VRI initiative if there's no violence. And so the question that I would have is that did the police department, with the complicitness of the mayor's office, allow violence to happen in Black communities so they can intentionally start working towards a RICO case of locking up Black people? See, y'all don't want me to ask the hard questions. And I know the mayor's office is listening. I know Glenn Scruggs and a lot of people are probably tuning in right now. Their antennas are up. I know it. I know it, but we got to go back. We have to see how the city of Chattanooga, first of all, never even acknowledged that, quote unquote, we had a gang problem, but intentionally allowed people to die because there is no value on Black life in this city. There is no value of Black life in this city. There is no value of Black children. If Black children were valued in this city, why would you drag them out of police cars? Or excuse me, why would you drag them out of their parents' cars if there was a value on Black children? There is no value on Black women. If you'll drag them out of their vehicles and if you will allow people to shoot them, you don't value Black women. Where's the value on Black men? You had people like Father to the Fatherless who work diligently. And when I say all Father to the Fatherless asked for was $600,000 for a 2-year contract, which is $300,000 per year. And you're telling me we couldn't. So we got to see the bigger scheme and the bigger game. Number one, Chattanooga ignored this problem that was going on for so long. Man, when I say I spent all weekend looking at articles and seeing where they talk to young people in the community who desperately want something more. But the city didn't even acknowledge that there was a gang problem. And when they do acknowledge that we did have a gang problem, what do they want to do? Lock people up. And is that how we solve problems? Because, yeah, you can send these boys on Fed time or state time, but when they come back, do they have the skills to change their life? So you can lock them up. And guess what? Now you've connected them to a network of... Y'all don't want me to be real. I don't want these... First of all, I'm tired of seeing young people just caught up in this cycle that there's nothing more. And I'm not against gang members. I understand the importance of gangs in our communities because people just don't feel protected. Part of this is a family thing. And this is why I'm glad that I have a show where I can explain this, because a lot of people think a lot of things about gang members because they don't know why they exist. They don't know how they exist. They don't know why people get involved. Most of the people who get involved in gangs, it's a family thing. It's a neighborhood thing. And you can't hardly survive in a neighborhood if it's nothing but sets there or gangs there. You can't really survive probably without getting picked. I'm not saying that they're gonna kill you or anything, but without getting picked on or people making fun of you. And we know how sensitive children are. But on that same level, because it used to be a situation before the city started gentrifying the hell out of Chattanooga and tearing down all these housing projects, you had to go out of your way to get in trouble. Like, we had the Bloods over here, we had the Crips over here, we got the Vice Lords and the gangsters. Like, everybody was in their own little neighborhood, and you had to go 15 to 20 minutes out the way into a totally different territory to even get in trouble, right? So if gang activity in a large scale was happening, it was because of intentional choices. But now, because we've torn down housing projects, we shifted people here, we shifted people there, we've got people that are scattered all throughout the city. Now you got people living next to one another in different gangs and sets that never been there. That's never been there. Or they got family there. Now they have a reason to come into communities that they never would have went into. But the city knew this. Just like the city knew that we had gang activity all the way back in the 80s. All the way back in the 80s. They knew this. We didn't have a gang problem. Y'all remember Chief Bobby died? We didn't have no gang problem. There was no reason for anybody to spend and put tax dollars into deterring kids from gang life, or even if they are in the gang, showing them that even if you are in the gang, guess what? You can still go to college. You can still be somebody. You can still leave this city. Come on now. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Talk to me.
Marie, love this. And I'm the troublemaker on Facebook. I'll post outrageous things that not only take our chin checker that I put in charge to pull me off of Facebook, but the public, like the woman they called Trump, or I can't call her a woman, the mud person that called Trump an MFer. I called her a cockroach pig. And a few in the I call it the African community, if you want to say that, outraged, freaked out. I mean, they went on for hours over this. Do you have the same outrage for this? They're outraged over a language that I've used to generate interest, but not outraged over this, Marie. And here's what I'm talking about. People need to get the priorities straight and turn their rage where it needs to be. I want your thoughts on that. Thank you.
No problem. You don't see into 2012. And this came from a county commissioner, really. You really don't see into 2012. God, I can't talk. 2012, where Mitch McClure was talking about gang violence and really pressuring people like Chief Bobby Dodd, Jim Hammond, and other people in the city to take this seriously. Now, my firm belief is that we as community knew that gangs have been in existence for a long time. And I'm not saying we need to get rid of them. What I'm saying is that we need to show them that there's another way. That there's another way. They can still protect their communities. They can still serve their communities. And despite what people think, last summer when I was handing out Know Your Rights cards, I went on what some people call F Block, which is like right off 38. That's Doris. That's Fagan Street. And I went and I talked to these young men. They didn't rob me. They didn't disrespect me. They weren't talking crazy to me. They were so respectful. They were receptive. And I asked them, and they looked kind of perplexed. I asked each and every, it was probably 20 of them, 20, maybe 25. I asked them, could I hug them? Could I hug them before I left them? And they were just perplexed. Number one, that somebody that's not from their neighborhood, first of all, came down to talk to them, which shows that they're not getting love and attention. The only time people focus on gangs is to arrest them and lock them up. Now, I'm not saying that I agree with everything that they do. I don't. But I also understand that if we got all this surveillance in the city of Chattanooga, if we got drugs here, come on now, the police allow it. If we got violence in the city, come on now, the police allow it. And don't tell me that the gang members are the ones that are bringing the drugs in here. Stop that. The confession stated that somebody else who's not even African American was supplying them with drugs. Don't tell me like they're not going to Catoosa County, Marion County to go. Come on. In Jim Hammond's backyard to go get these drugs. You see, people got this thing twisted. It's always this sensationalism around African-American people, and in particular, people in poverty. But what they don't say is these folks in poverty, where do they get the drugs from? Where do they get the guns from? Because people in poverty aren't giving them drugs and guns. They're buying it. But where do they come from? And who allows this? And why do they allow this? Ooh, come on. Sequatchie. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. Quiet as it's kept. In the city, meth is still a very real problem. Meth is a very real problem here in the city of Chattanooga. And you telling me these young men on the south side and the west side and East Chat, they're the ones that's cooking up the meth? Or are they going out into the country where ain't a whole lot of us at? And they're oh man, Marine, focus. So let me go on ahead and play, because we just need to go on ahead and start from the top.
To the left of Workman and one kept straight on Central.
And she heard any gunshots?
So one of the things that's going on is that in 2014, and let's go over the story. In 2014, we had a beef that started over a fight between two gangs in the city of Chattanooga, or two sets of one particular gang, which is Bloods. At this park, Bloods and the Bounty Hunter Bloods. And this is where you can go back and read this story. This is on the Chattanoogan. And this is March 27th, 2017. Now, this fight, all of this happened back in January of 2014. And again, Bianca Horton, all of these other individuals, a lot of these individuals that died, a lot of them died in 2015 and 2016. But January 20th, 2014, after a fight, multiple shots were fired into a home on East 50th Street, with one of the shots killing then 13-year-old DeAndre Southers, the stepson of Bobby Johnson, who is the leader at the time of the Bounty Hunter Bloods. And they blamed the APB Bloods. And so this feud that just started with a fight turned to gun violence. The alleged confession that went viral on social media this weekend was from Tommy Hubbard, whose house was shot up in March. So this violence started in January. It led to a leader in the set getting his house shot up in March. And the police knew, this is important, the police knew who the culprits were after they talked to this man. Because he told on everybody, you know. Talking about ladies, if you've never heard of tip parties, or I mean, just people who have nothing to do with gang violence or gangs at all. I'm talking about old ladies. He threw everybody he could possibly think of under the bus. Right? So after they killed DeAndre Southers, a house on Mulberry Street occupied by LaTroston Haggard and APB Blood was riddled with bullets. So you have these two sets of one gang going back and forth. And one of the things you would hear in the interrogation is that these people are related, either by distant cousins. And this is something that we have to talk about in the city of Chattanooga, in particular for African-American people. I don't know what it's like for people outside of my community, but in my community, if you're not related to somebody, you went to school with them. And if you didn't go to school with them, your baby mama or your sister or your brother is married in somewhere. Practically, I would say almost all of us we're all almost related. I can almost guarantee that somewhere down the line. That 9 times out of 10, I'm talking to a cousin or I'm talking to somebody who's married into the family. Come on now. I'm a Hogue, and I'm related to Paris's, Harper's. I could just say those Chubbs. I can say those 3 names right there, and then you could probably start thinking of 4 or 5 different Harpers just off the bat. Come on now. We're related in this city. And so not only are they allowing quote unquote community violence, but a lot of these, some of these officers that are in the gang unit have been doing this so long. They've been paying attention so long, but they just haven't done anything about what they see except locking people up. That's the only solution that we have. Wait till they kill each other and lock each other up. What we have is a situation where they know who people are. And so what type of leadership do we have in this city that would not only allow gang violence, gun violence, but then they would allow, knowing good and well from intel that these are family members killing one another, and nobody's saying, first of all, when you step in front of a microphone, you don't get this contextual understanding of what's going on. Why don't we have people in the city that really just tell it like it is? Family, y'all are killing one another. Over what? But what they sell to the public is, look at those Negroes over there killing one another. We just need to lock them up. There's nothing we can do to help them. There's nothing we can do to help them. There's nothing we can do to save them. They don't want to change their life. And then when you have people like right here, I have where A Better Tomorrow submitted a letter of interest. All this stuff is public information, fam. Submitted a letter of interest and wanted to participate in the violence reduction initiative. Understand that the city can come up with a whole lot of things as far as how they want to deal with violence, gangs, and everything else. But the truth of the matter is you got to have people from these communities. You can't do this work without folks from the communities. And if you really want to change stuff, locking people up is not the way. How did we allow them to not fund Father to the Fatherless and get right back to the plan that they always had along? Let's sweep the streets and charge everybody in a RICO case and lock up generations of family members, which then allows us to move into their communities to where these people don't have political power. Y'all don't want me to be real. Stay tuned for the second half of the segment.
Chattanooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
The Catoosa County Sheriff's Office is warning about a phone scam that's been going around town. Reports say the scammers call the victims asking them to send them prepaid credit cards or else they'll be arrested. The Catoosa County Sheriff's Office said on Facebook, it's a scam. The company widely blamed for the problems that plagued TN-ready testing will bid again for the state's contract. Q-Star says it doesn't agree with several of the Tennessee comptroller's findings of fault. Governor Haslam said last year that the state was looking to sign a contract with a different company. Highway 27 at Dayton Pike is back open after a catastrophic crash closed the roadway. Hamilton County Sheriff's Office says a car slammed into a power pole near midnight on Sunday. That crash left power lines draped across the road, leaving a dangerous scene for commuters. It was finally cleared after many hours. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Hey folks, Jeff Stiles here, talk radio host and infamous technophobe. But I got to tell you, this Facebook Live that Nooga Radio does, it makes sense to me. It really does. Now, we're at 92.7 on the FM dial, but really where you need to go is NoogaRadio.com and just do the streaming audio, 8 to 10 a.m. The first hour is mostly just me just throwing commentary in on top of the news. The second hour is me frustrating and irritating you beyond all belief. NoogaRadio.com. Don't miss it every weekday.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Listen up, y'all. This is Ben Phillips with Home Rate Mortgage right here in Chattanooga. I'm in the business of saving people money. And if you want to save money, you need to pick that cell phone up right now. 805-9100. I just helped a doctor with a $400,000 mortgage. It closed in just 24 days. We lowered his rate by over 4%, saving his family $394,000 in mortgage interest payments. And get this, several lenders told this doctor he was stuck in his loan. What was the difference? He called the mortgage doctors at Home Rate Mortgage right here in Chattanooga, 805-9100. What would 10 minutes on the phone with Home Rate Mortgage do for you? Get that cell phone out right now, 805-9100. Let us prescribe you a better solution for you to reach your financial goals. Just give us a call right now, 805-9100, or online at homeratemortgage.com.
To the house and to a home rate mortgage.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga Roofing Contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust.
The Mad Philly Sandwich Shop on Shallowford Road across from Mountain View Service Center presents How to Speak Philadelphian and its Southern translation.
Hey, forget about it.
Hey, don't worry.
Just shut up and eat it.
Now go eat what's on your plate.
Hey, Rose, did you get the shopping cart?
Hey, Rose, get the buggy.
The Mad Philly Sandwich Shop, just off Route 153 on Shallowford Road across from Mountain View Service Center.
It's a good Philly, y'all.
Expect some sunshine, dry, and pleasant weather out there for your afternoon. Highs settling into the lower to middle 60s. Tonight, more clouds. A few spotty showers will pass through overnight. Lows only near 50. For Tuesday, morning clouds, but drier. High 60 to 62, turning colder for the midweek. Let Dodge City Ski Shop keep you and your family toasty warm through this winter with the largest selection of cold weather clothing around. From long underwear, wool socks, and Columbia jackets, Dodge City, East Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. And I'm Storm Team 12, speaking to your all-juice match before.
The radio 92.7.
Oh, y'all know what it is. Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. And we're talking about it today. The viral confession, Tommy Hubbard. Let me say this before we go deeper into this. Like, the phone should be ringing off the hook. Folks pissed about this. Number one, to any of the folks who are listening, who may be part of the gangs. That's it. Yeah. That may be part of the gangs. Hear me and hear me clearly. Don't fall into the trap. This is a trap. Because we got to ask ourselves, why did this get leaked now? Right? We had that big RICO case that's nothing but, for the most part, a sham. Because all of the shooters, they were already locked up anyway. It's nothing but a sham. It's nothing but a sham. There's so many holes in Neil Pinkston's quickness, gung-ho-ness of trying to lock people up. I'm not even a lawyer. And I can pick apart some of this stuff as just absolutely ridiculous. But Neil Pinkston said in 2016 that he was upset with the VRI initiative because he felt that it wasn't working. The chump. Man, I'm telling you, what's with these? He looks like he could be Andy Burke's brother. I don't know what is it with these skinny, salt and pepper haired, short midget, punks that we have in political office in the city of Chattanooga. Like, you ain't got nothing better to do than target gang members, when the reality is that we got sheriffs. We got a history of sheriffs selling drugs and guns and extorting businesses, and he gets the minimum sentencing. Why don't we have a large RICO case against the Chattanooga Police Department, which beats the hell out of people on a daily basis? I don't get that. I think it's only been one officer that's ever been indicted by a district attorney in the city of Chattanooga, and they've been murdering people in police custody as well as in the community for a long time. Why don't we ever see this same level of attention to people who are supposedly civil servants who do things that are worse than criminals, and they have a sworn duty to uphold the law that they break all the time? And folks always have the mitigated gall and the audacity, because that's what it is. The audacity to talk about Marie need to leave the police alone. No, the police have a sworn duty to uphold the law. And if they break the law, they're no better than the people they arrest. And if they break the law, I question their character, which I have a right to, by the way. I question their character on any arrest that they've ever made if they break the law themselves. And I think we're doing ourselves a disservice if we don't acknowledge that there is a police cultural problem here in the Chattanooga Police Department, as well as within the Sheriff's Department, when you have people like Turkey Neck Jim Hammond who get in front of the television and talks about things like, I'll only resign if I do stuff immoral. Well, if you're allowing people to die in your jails, that's immoral. Go ahead and resign. And I can't get up off of this because these folks have the power to put people in jail and in prison for a long time. Now, if you kill somebody, you deserve to go to jail. But on that same note, what are we doing to restore people? Even if they've made, and I'm not saying that they don't need to pay for what they've done, but what I'm saying is how do we change people from being criminals if, first of all, we don't address poverty, and second of all, if we don't have love and compassion for them? So many people talk about gangs and you ain't never been in one. You don't even know anybody who's ever been in a gang. You've never walked in a neighborhood that's ever had a gang. But you got a lot of opinions about people doing things that you've never had to do and context that you don't even understand. And consider yourself blessed if you listening to me today, that you ain't never lived in a neighborhood that ever had to have a gang for you to be safe. Consider yourself blessed that you don't understand, but have compassion even if you don't understand. Have compassion. We're not going to change people by locking them up. We change them when we love them and we have compassion. Let me get off my soapbox. Y'all know how I am. Y'all know how I am about agape love. Agape love is unconditional, meaning that even when you do some of the dumbest stuff, I restore you with love and compassion. I restore you with love and compassion. And I couldn't understand in some instances why I see people who are harder on people who do dumb things out of poverty mindsets and poverty circumstances. But then you have police officers who get paid to do the work that they do. They're not in poverty, who kill people, and we don't hold them to that same standard. I can have a lot more grace for the man or the woman in poverty that does stupid things, because poverty is not just a circumstance, it's also a mindset. And it's not until your eyes are open to other beautiful things in this world that there's more that you could do than just be poor. There's more that you could do than just be ignorant. But there is a whole world for you. But sometimes people they don't need a hand out. They just need a hand up. And has the city of Chattanooga ever given Black people a hand up? No, they stepped on us. They stepped on us every single step of the way. Nothing we do in our community is good enough. And people are always talking about what we're doing. When we used to own so many homes in the city of Chattanooga, and now people say that we don't want to buy any, and it's not that we don't want to buy any, we can't afford them. And they say we don't want to take care of our neighborhood, and it's not that we can't take care of our neighborhood, but how do we do that without resources? And then you have the dummies in politics who say that we can do it without politics, but lead in the soil is political. School choices and how people are taught is political. Everything that happens in my street, whether it gets paved or not, whether I have lights in my neighborhood, whether I have a grocery store, whether I have a pharmacy, it's political. Businesses and jobs coming to my neighborhood, it's political. How are we going to get around politics? Ooh, Marie. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Talk to me.
Good one. I'm a new listener to your show. I came when Jeff Styles started being on your station, and so I find your viewpoint very new because I'm one of those sandy-haired salt and pepper white guys that you're just talking about. But I really respect your opinion, and it's completely it's new. It's new, and through my experience, I've worked in some places, temp agencies that employed people of color, and they were gang members, but I would have never known unless they told me. And so you are 100% correct. The number one thing to address is poverty. And by chasing all the jobs out of Chattanooga where somebody could make a decent earning that didn't have as a foothold to get up to something better, without those opportunities, all you're doing is building small little barricades of neighborhoods for people that cannot get out, even if they want to get out. There's no opportunity to make a living wage, really, unless you go to college. And so there's, I understand the poverty mindset, having been poor, but you are correct. I've not been around gangs. I am blessed to not have been in a neighborhood where that was a necessary thing. It's been explained to me why it is a necessary thing. Because people need protection. They need families, even if it's an extended family.
And that's what it takes. That's what it takes. People have to tell their stories. Because the media, and thank you so much for your comments, man. I appreciate you. And you're not one. When I say, of course, I'm trolling the mayor and Neil Pinkston. I'm not grouping people. I'm trolling them, and they know I'm kicking them in the balls. I do it every day. But that's not for anybody in the community. That's specifically for Neil Pinkston and the Good Old Boys Club that Marie Mott is desperately trying to tear down, because everybody deserves a fair chance in this city. And until we get that, I won't stop. But I appreciate you, man. That's what it takes. It takes us telling stories, because you can have your opinions all day long, but if you've never talked to somebody who comes from these situations, that's all you got. That's all you got. And we live in the most church city in America, and the power of the gospel, besides social justice, the real power in the gospel, and in particular in Jesus Christ, was that he was God in the flesh, meaning that even God had a perception of human beings, but he had to walk among them to understand. You heard what I just said. Even God had an opinion about human beings, but he had to walk among them to understand what it's like being human. Yeah, I'm a preacher's daughter. Let me go ahead and play this.
Jimmy Dawson came in 97.
He was 2000, wasn't he?
No, he was here when I...
Right, no, he was 2000, or he was 97.
Because, yeah, that's...
Yeah, they weren't doing nothing down
that's why
here.
I didn't get hired. No. The first time. I was told that.
That's right, because we got a good pay adjustment in that year. That's when it was. If I'm not mistaken.
You remember me? Sergeant Winger with homicide. Investigator Blackwell homicide. Sergeant Jason Lewis interdiction. TFO Naramore ATF.
Was someone else coming in, or?
That's it.
All right, Mr. Hubbard, we appreciate you coming in. Just to let you know up front, you came in on your own free will. Okay? You can leave at any time. We appreciate you being here, though, and even more so, we appreciate you being 100% honest with us today. You know, there's quite a few of us sitting here, you know, that might have different questions for you, but we need complete honesty from you with each question, okay? We'll be honest with you, but you have to be honest with us. All right? Is that a deal? All right. First of all, what gang were you involved with?
Bounty Hunter.
Bounty Hunter. What's your rank?
OIG.
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 And what address do you use? Where do you sleep at night?
408 Haney Drive.
408 Haney Drive. That's the same address that you were leaving the night of the shooting. And we'll get with you on that. Now, is this
229 West 38.
And what's at 229 West 38? Who's at 408 Haney?
My girlfriend, Alita Strickland.
And what was the other address?
229 West 38.
And whose address is that?
Tamika Hubbard, my sister.
Where do you work at? Unemployed. How do you make your money?
I was making enough drugs.
You was?
Yeah.
What happened that you're not now?
Ended up going to jail.
How long ago was it that you stop making money off drugs?
About a month.
What were you selling?
Cocaine.
Cocaine only?
Crack, sometimes too.
What else?
Weed, but I smoke weed, so that was rare.
When we talk about cocaine and crack, how much quantities are we talking about? Ounces?
Yeah. Ounce of that, ounce there.
Here and there?
Yeah.
What about crack?
Same.
Same?
Yeah.
And weed, you buy some, sell some, smoke some? And the last time was a month ago? Where did you get the drugs from?
One of my friends, one of my homeboys.
And that name is?
DePriest Deloney.
DePriest
Deloney.
Where'd DePriest get it from?
Atlanta.
Do you know you know the supplier in Atlanta?
No, we just call him Tweezy.
Tweezy?
Yeah.
How much would DePriest get at a time?
Probably a half brick or a whole. Depends on how I was looking, like around the first, stuff like that.
Around the first of the
So that's the first part that we have right there. It was 4 parts. One part was made public, and since the person actually removed it from Facebook, but shout out to my community members who always keep me plugged into what's going on. The first thing that an important person that who keeps me laughing on a lot of times, but at the same time asked a very valid question: why the timing of this right now? And in particular with this set of the Bloods that was driving a lot of the violence being driven between these two sets of the Bloods. In particular, after we have a situation to where the RICO case comes into the public, and you have all of these people, like it was like 54, I believe, 54 people indicted. Why would they release this right now? Why would this be made public right now? Like, we got to ask these simple questions that we don't really ask. Why would they make this stuff public right now? And number 2, this is why people don't come forward. This is why people don't come forward. Because if people step forward because they want to do the right thing, and I'm not talking about people who do dirt and then throw other people in their gangs and stuff. Like I've never understood how that works. I believe that if you do just as much dirt as everybody else, there shouldn't be an opportunity really for you to be state's witness and all this other kind of stuff. You can tell what's going on, but baby, I'm gonna have to charge you with the rest of the people you're trying to throw up under the bus. I've never understood that you could do just as much and sometimes more dirt, but if you cut these deals with the police department, somehow they'll put you back on the street and then arrest all these other folks that you threw up under the bus, but you did the same things that they did. I've never understood the morality behind that. But this is why people in the community don't trust the police. They don't come forward. And really, when y'all gonna have to tune in to tomorrow where we take this to part 2 and we really start getting into meat, because there's a lot of language in there that I'm gonna have to bleep out because I don't want my show pulled. And we got FCC rules here on the show. But also when you have police officers that are talking about you can either check up or check out, meaning that you can either step up, and if these folks don't want to change, then you need to become a silent killer, meaning you need to off people in your own gang. And we fine with that. That's a recommendation by one of the police officers. It's a recommendation where they're asking you. So it's another thing that we have to talk about. Entrapment, meaning that even if people are out here doing crimes, there's still rules. There's rules to this. Just like they say, there's levels to this. There's rules to engagement. Police don't have a right to blow past the law any more than the common man. Let me say that again for the deaf, the dumb, and the blind. The police have parameters that they have to work within as well. And if the police are blowing past parameters and intentionally entrapping people, meaning, and you're going to see this tomorrow, where this gang member is telling his set members that he wants them to come together so they can squash all of this stuff. So these folks are coming together with the premise that they're going to squash beef, that they're going to let bygones be bygones. They're going to talk about this because that's what community members are supposed to do, right? We're grown. We're supposed to be able to have sit downs and talk about it. And sometimes that may need to happen more than once. So they're asking them to bring their guns and stuff like that. Folks, that's entrapment, meaning that if people are coming together under the premise that they're not intending to commit a crime, but you compel them or you encourage them to commit a crime in order to arrest them, my people, that's entrapment. And that's illegal. You can't do that. You can't compel people to commit crimes in order to arrest them. You can't compel them to sell drugs in order to arrest them. You can't compel them to bring drugs or guns to a spot in order to arrest them. You can't do that. And if the people who are playing this game from behind the badge and behind the desk are just as dirty, like, don't forget Michael Wanger beat Christopher Tate, Adam Tatum, set up Angela Moore, lied on the stand, perjured on the stand. He's got a long history of brutalizing black men and setting black men up. And he's still employed by the Chattanooga Police Department. And it's over homicides. So it's no wonder if you beat black people and then you're responsible for solving the crimes of black people getting murdered. No wonder nobody really ever figures out who's guilty until it's far too late. Y'all got to tune in tomorrow. I had to hit you with a teaser today, but y'all better tune in tomorrow because we're really going to get into the meat of this. Chattanooga Police Department, I have nothing against those good officers. If there's any, I'm looking for them. Before y'all suckers in the Chattanooga Police Department, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you because it's 2019. We're not going to have police terror in 2019. You better believe what I'm saying. Y'all know what it is. If no one is taking the time today to tell you they love you, I love you. Nothing you can do about it.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
The Cajusa County Sheriff's Office is warning about a phone scam that's been going